All right, so people keep commenting, reaching out to me saying, I need to know how to feel about Giannis getting traded. I need to know how to feel about this offseason for the Bucks. So much has happened, and I don't know how I feel until you tell me how I feel. And so I'm going to tell you right now. We're glad Giannis is gone. All the people crying and acting all upset that Giannis is gone, listen, y'all know I've had my Giannis jersey since when they had red in their jersey. Since his rookie season when he was averaging 5 or 6 points a game. He was a 63 overall in 2K. I love that man and watching his progression, absolutely. But if anybody has watched the Bucks for the last 2 years and is really upset that Giannis is gone at this point, I just I find it hard to believe that you're interested in the Bucks at this point because it has been a disaster to watch and it literally could not get worse than what last season was. It was so bad that there was no hope that the Bucks were going to do anything, but it wasn't bad enough to think that the Bucks had a chance at getting a top 5 draft pick. It was bleak. It was terrible. It was depressing. Giannis went from one week talking about, "Oh, I need a team where I can win," then the next week talking about how he would never ask for a trade. It was just an annoying saga the whole time. We had people acting like Giannis wasn't ever going to get traded when we all knew he was, and he was just not willing to rip that Band-Aid off. Now the Band-Aid is off, and we're all happy. All right, Giannis. I could do another video talk about the great stuff, but honestly, it's been 2 years of just annoying stuff from Giannis where I'm not really in the mood to celebrate what he did 5 years ago now. Like, we celebrated when it happened. Give me another little bit of time, and then we could talk about how the fact that Giannis had the greatest basketball performance in NBA history that doesn't get talked about enough. Game 6, dropping 50 points with the 5 blocks. That is the best performance in the history of the sport, and people don't say that enough. When you consider the fact that it was a Game 6 elimination game that he did that in, he provided the best moment an individual player ever provided in the sport of basketball. Obviously, the MVPs, him being Robin to Chris Middleton's Batman. It was a great time to watch, but we're ready to move on. Outside of that, the return, I like the return a lot. I really do. I'm so happy we didn't do something centered on Jaylen Brown and just a little sprinkle. My ideal was to get in that top 4 of this draft. I was thinking like Giannis to the Bulls, Giannis to the Cavs, Evan Mobley to the Bulls, and then the Bucks get like the 4th pick and maybe a little extra sprinkled in there. I would have loved to get like Caleb Wilson or somebody like to really get excited about. And I don't think we have one player where I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the next Giannis, this is the next superstar. But we got a few guys where I'm like, these could definitely be championship pieces. The first thing to talk about is actually this Kasparis Jakusionis guy. When it happened the day of, I was at an event and I happened to meet a Heat fan, and that was the first guy he talked about. I think he said he was like a 6'6" Goran Dragic. I think that was his comparison for him. And he was like really upset that they had lost him. And watching what he's done overseas this offseason and even just the little moments for the Heat this season, I think he was one of the most efficient spot up 3-point shooters from the corner in the NBA. And he's able to handle the ball. So I think that's a great high upside return in the trade. Tyler Hero, I've never been a fan of, but honestly, when I saw him post up Giannis and Bam's mid-range numbers, I like that. I like a guy that's not afraid to ruffle some feathers. I like that. And so I'm in on the Hero thing now. I'm excited to watch Tyler Hero with the Bucks. And Hawkins, I've been a fan of him since his UCLA days. I definitely see him as a championship type player. He's not a similar player to Josh Hart, but I think he could fit in like as that 4th or 5th guy. Like Josh Hart said this offseason, if I'm your 2nd best player, we're going to the lottery. If I'm your 4th best player, that's a good spot to be in. Really for him, it's the 5th best player. But I see that similar as Hawk has. Like not a very good 3-point shooter, but very good for the mid-range, could hit free throws. Some of the best footwork in the NBA, one of the best passing forwards in the NBA, averaged 5 assists as a forward off the bench. Just a very good basketball player, okay defender. A guy that is just a really nice connective piece, I think, as long as you have better players ahead of him. And so then Khalil Ware, I'm up and down. He's a guy that I really was hoping the Bucks could get in the draft originally, and he had amazing moments with the Heat last season. So he's definitely an exciting piece. My worry is that there's a little Kuminga, like Jonathan Kuminga with the Warriors had some great moments, but Warriors fans were all like, "Why is Steve Kerr not playing him? Why is he not playing him?" And even I was like, Steve Kerr needs to play Kuminga more. But as you see Kuminga more and more, you kind of start to understand he should have got more opportunity, but you understand why Steve Kerr wasn't the biggest fan. And I'm sorry, like, as much as it seemed like Spoelstra should have played Cleo Ware more, I've got to, like, Spoelstra's not some idiot. So I've got to put some stock into the fact that Spoelstra seemed very frustrated with Khalil Ware. Again, the Heat fan I talked to said he likes Khalil Ware. He thinks that Spoelstra was just traumatized by Hassan Whiteside and was, like, seeing similarities. But to me, I'm like, similarities with Hassan Whiteside, that's still a red flag. So I'm excited about Khalil Ware, but we also have to be aware that, this is not a perfect young player, even though he is very exciting because he could get you 20 rebounds and blocks and he could shoot threes at a great... Like, I'm very excited, but there's still the side that has me a little hesitant. Outside of that, for the Bucks this offseason, smart moves from Horst. I don't love the draft. I'm okay with the draft. I think Braden Berries, he doesn't get me like jumping off the sofa or anything so far, from what I've seen. But like, he seems like definitely a solid NBA player, like a guy that will belong in the league. So I'm not necessarily super excited about the pick, but I'm not mad at it. Ament, I didn't want the Bucks to take, but at 13, I'm not mad at it. He seemed like the number one guy on NBA Twitter. No fan base wanted to get Ament. But honestly, when I think through the draft, when that happens, a lot of times those guys turn out to be pretty good. Like, I remember a few years ago, Franz Wagner was the number one guy nobody wanted their team to draft. He was not good in the tournament, seemed a little soft, not a great shooter. And he's turned out pretty stinking great for the Magic at that spot. And there's an argument to be made that the Warriors would be in a completely different place right now if they had taken him over Kuminga. And so I say that to say, nobody online seems to like Ahmed, but I mean, he was still like a second team all conference guy. He's, got some he could rebound a little bit. He's got long arms. He could shoot. He's kind of a classic horse draft pick, long arm, skinny guy. And so that has me a little traumatized about him. I'm not in love with the draft pick. But again, at 13, I'm not mad at it. Honestly, if you could just get one really good player out of those two picks, or you can get two guys that are solid, that's a good spot to be in. And I think there's a good chance you either got one star, maybe Ament hits, or you at least have two decent players, which they're both likely to be decent. So overall, this offseason, it's just a lot of solid moves. Not one thing that I'm super excited about, but a lot of things that add up to me feeling good about the future with the assets that the Bucks have. Even they just traded for Karis LeVert, which not a fan of him as a player, especially with the Bucks already having a million guards. But they were able to get off guys that mean nothing, Prince and Gary Trent, and they got 2 second-round picks back, which I've never been a horse guy. I feel like he should have been fired dang near a decade ago at this point. But I will say, second-round picks is the one place that he's done all right. Bogoljub Markovic seems like a very exciting player right now that the Bucks got second round last year. Mamu, former Bucks second-round pick, just got a pretty good deal from the Lakers. Merrill has been killing it in Cleveland. So second-round picks for the Bucks, that's kind of John Horst's sweet spot. So that's great to pick up as well. And then, yeah, like I said, Bogoljub Markovic has me extremely excited from what I've seen from him in the Summer League. As a second-round guy, there's a lot to like there, a lot of skill from him. And so I'm really excited to watch Bucks basketball again. I think that this Bucks team could potentially be a playoff team. I'm not necessarily expecting it, but there's definitely a lot of assets that have the ability to turn into something nice. And when you've got solid NBA players in Ryan Rollins, Tyler Hero, Hawkes, you still have Miles Turner around, who had a disappointing year, but I think things should definitely be going in a good direction, especially with all the playmaking from the guards that we now have. I think he's definitely going to be a lot better this season. I think it should be a fun year of Bucks basketball to watch and to see who really steps up out of these young guys, because one or two of them are bound to, and we already have Ryan Rollins and Tyler Hero who are proven young players. So I'm excited. I've loved this offseason, and yeah, I feel great. Let me know how you guys all feel right now, though. Drop a comment, hit that like, and subscribe if you want to.